Hey there, so you might know that I have been running my single bin worm farm for about 3 years now, and today I'm going to set up a 2-bin system. I'm kind of excited about this. It's a stacked bin system. I'm not following any one method. I've watched a whole bunch of videos, I've done a lot of reading, looked at all sorts of diagrams and pictures and all that stuff, and I've kind of put together my idea of what's going to work best. So let's take a look at what I'm doing. I'm not promising you it's right. Promising you it's what I'm doing. Okay, so here's what I learned about 2-bin systems, or 3 sometimes. One bin is going to stack inside of the other. The bottom bin is going to have the bedding and the worms and the food until they've almost exhausted that one. And then I will add bedding into the top bin, which will sit down inside of here. And I'll add food and bedding and all that to the top bin. And then, theoretically, as the food gets exhausted from the bottom, they'll want to move up in search of more food. The thought process here is that if you saw my last video, where I didn't make you watch the whole thing, but I spent an hour sifting through vermicompost, picking out worms and all that kind of stuff, it's supposed to make that job easier. So theoretically, once they've all migrated up, then you just take the bottom bin, you have clean castings or clean vermicompost down there, and they're all at the top, and then you just rotate the bottom to the top, making it the new top, adding to there, they migrate, so on and so forth, forever, we hope. Now, I said theoretically, because apparently what happens is that they don't all migrate. Some of them migrate, most of them migrate, but that's still easier than picking through all of them. In the name of science and experimentation and having fun, and doubling my worm population, we're going to give this a try. Let me get the bottom bin set up. I'm going to do it pretty much the same way that I do my single bins. Now, a lot of people who do it this way, they have a third bin on the bottom that does not have holes, and that is to catch the leachate, the liquid that runs out the bottom. In my single bin system, I've never really had liquid run out the bottom, so I'm hoping it stays that way. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But my plan is that I will have an extra lid sitting underneath it so that if it does run out a little bit, it's going to be okay. I do have 1/4-inch holes all along the bottom for migration and 1/4-inch holes all along the top edge for airflow. I'm going to take a piece of cardboard and put it at the bottom. And that's just to keep them in there initially. They will break this down. They will eat this. This will become compost. I have these little things that come in packing. Chewy has been putting them in with the canned food. So I'm just going to put a couple of those down there. After that, I'm going to put in some cocoa coir. I'm going to put that into these little things and in between. Next, I'm going to add in some paper. I don't have a paper shredder yet. It's not a big deal. I just take some of this packing paper that comes with everything, that they don't put the plastic bubbly stuff in now. I just tear it up. It takes a few minutes. It's really not a big deal. I would like to have a paper shredder. It's just, I'm not there. I also use a lot of toilet paper and paper towel rolls. Anytime I take apart a worm bin and I go through all of the rolls that are in there, there's always worms hiding inside of them, making little homes. You can see how they'll break them down over time. So I have all of that. I have some, it says chicken food on it. This is some microgreens. It has dried up, but that was some lettuce microgreens, so there's still a little bit of plant material in there. Now I have my food that was in the old bin. I just finished splitting up my old bin, and I have new food for them, and I've thrown it all into the same bucket. There was a corn cob, there's a bell pepper that started to go bad on me. That in there. I have some of the old avocados, a piece of apple. I have some parsley. I used half of it. I have some mushrooms. They'll go through the mushrooms pretty quickly, and they are a wet food. Now I have some coffee grounds for them. That in there. All right, and then I'm going to give them some flour for corn tortillas. And I'm gonna give them some oats that got old on me. I have started amending my worm bins, as in I started when I reset the single bin about 10 minutes ago. I'm using azomite for minerals. It's got all the trace minerals in it. Alfalfa meal for nitrogen, for the N. Rock phosphate for the P, for phosphorus. And I'm using kelp meal for K, for the potassium. So azomite, this is a 10-gallon bin. I'm treating it as if it is a 2-gallon container. So this says 1 to 2 tablespoons per gallon. 4 tablespoons. That's probably a little heavy. It's okay. We're going to go with it. This is just helping to ensure that when I do pull out my vermicompost at the end, it's going to have nutrients in it. Okay, my N, alfalfa meal. It's also high in potassium. 2 to 4 tablespoons per gallon. I got the big box on the rock phosphate, and as the little boxes run out, I will replace them with bigger boxes. It was a lot to spend all at once. 1/4 cup per gallon, so I'm gonna go a 1/2 cup on this. I'm gonna say that's 1/4, and that's 1/4. And then my K is gonna be kelp meal for my potassium, and that is 2 tablespoons per gallon. So now it has trace minerals and NPK in there. So we won't know the exact amounts. I'm sure I could have it analyzed after, but I'm not. We just know that those are in there now for sure. So that will help whatever comes through here. This is half the worms that I had in my single bin system, along with a whole bunch of cocoons. Hello, cuties. I'm gonna drop them in here. I'm gonna put them down here where the food is. I'm gonna get them down to that bell pepper. You guys get in there. Go in there, little babies. No babies in the bowl, no cocoons in the bowl. So now I have everything down in there. I'm gonna give them back a handful of their vermicompost that they already made, because this has all of their beneficial stuff in it already. It's already got the bacteria, any of the little microscopic things. I'm gonna give them some more cardboard embedding. I had some toilet paper rolls over here. Yep. And then I have all the old cardboard that was in the old bin. Put that back in there. Okay, so I got all that in there and I'm feeling like it's too full. So I'm gonna give some of this back to my single bin real quick, which is just right here. Just make them a little covering on top. Okay, so here we are set up. It's a little damp in here. I'm gonna give them a little bit of water. Plain. Now, some of that water is gonna run out the bottom, and that's okay. I'm just trying to make sure that they don't have big dry pockets in here. So my cocoa core was a little bit damp. The food obviously was damp. And the old cardboard that I took out of the single bin system when I cleaned it out, some of that was damp as well. It's not too dry and it shouldn't be too wet, but I'll check back in a couple of days and see how they're doing, and I'll adjust their moisture as needed at that point. Got all this extra paper. Stick that in there for now. For right now, they don't need the top bin. They have everything they need in the bottom bin, but it is part of the system. Here we go. So that sits down like this, and then they're gonna have a lid on top. And then I'll set the other lid underneath. So this is my plan. And then I will set this stack on top of my single bin system, which maybe you know, maybe you don't, sits in the kitchen on top of 4 bricks. When we do get invaded with ants, I put peppermint oil on those bricks to repel the ants. And it's worked pretty well so far. So this is my double bin system. Again, not sure how it's going to work. This is my first time, but I do thank you for taking this journey with me. The single bin reset that I just did is going to be the video right here. And then this video is the one that YouTube thinks you might want to see next. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I will catch you next time. Later, y'all.